Leach back here at beautiful South Beach at Future Proof Miami 2025. I'm joined by Gatto, the co-CEO of CION Investments. Great to see you.
Great to see you, Dan. I love the way you pronounced my last name.
Listen, I studied it for at least 15 hours. I passed the test. Listen, the vibes have been incredible here. I wonder what it's like for you to be outdoors on the beach, face-to-face, 5-year, anniversary of COVID, just, cross. What's the experience been like for you at Future Proof?
You know what? This experience is unlike any other event that you go to in the financial industry, right?
Awesome.
And it is incredible how they bring all these people together and everyone's happy to be here, right? I feel like when you go to a typical conference and you're locked in a ballroom, you don't see the light of day, people are not as open, they're not as friendly, they don't want to communicate. And this event really fosters communication. So the energy, the people's availability, the food trucks, everything is really...
Yeah, people are looking forward to the one-on-one meeting. It's not like I got like 6 in a row here.
Exactly.
Well, let's let the people know about CION Investments. You guys are doing some really special stuff there right now.
Wonderful. So we are an alternative investment solutions provider. We're open architecture, meaning we're not one brand, right? We work with multiple managers, best-in-class managers, to bring to market alternative investments for the wealth channel. And we do that primarily through registered funds and through a wrapper called an interval fund, which is very popular right now because it really allows individual investors to access alternatives in an appropriate way and gives them some ability to get liquidity on a semi-liquid basis.
Yeah, I know you guys are a pioneer in that interval fund structure. Kind of expand upon that, if you will.
So the interval fund is a tremendous wrapper. It's something that we've been involved in now for about 8 years. And when we were looking at the next iteration of what we were going to do, we were managing a business development company called CION Investment Corp. And we were looking at different ways to really, quote unquote, democratize alternatives. We hear that term. What does that really mean? Right? It doesn't mean just offering it to a client. You got to think about how are they going to, what's the vehicle? What's the vessel? How are they going to get into it? And the interval fund is a great wrapper because it allows us as managers to really think long-term and put illiquid assets in that wrapper so that the investor can benefit from the illiquidity premium. While at the same time, as I mentioned before, this is a registered product. There's a lot of transparency around it. And most importantly, there is liquidity on a quarterly basis, on an interval. That liquidity is typically limited to 5% of the net asset value of the fund per quarter and 20% per year. But I like to call that appropriate liquidity, right? Because when you invest in alts, you want to think long-term, right? You're not trading these assets. The alts typically are designed in a way where they're not as volatile, right, or sensitive to market shocks. And it allows the investor to kind of stay the course, right? But if you need your capital for whatever reason, if it's personal reason, if your advisor wants to rebalance your portfolio, they can utilize this interval on a quarterly basis to do that. So it really marries the kind of a mutual fund wrapper, if you will, with a traditional alternative investment opportunity. Brings that together, and we think it's just a tremendous opportunity for the retail investor to capitalize on alts in the same way that institutions have been for many years.
Sign me up. It sounds like an incredible product, and it's a mirroring of many things, as you mentioned. When you look at CION, there's a lot of different options people have out there. It's very interesting time, fascinating time for living in. You guys really focus on the individual investor. What caused that to be the main focus for you guys?
So this started more than 20 years ago. My partner and I were, looking at the landscape, and we really thought the future was in individual investors, right? It was wasn't a lot going on back then, right? But we really felt that was going to be the big opportunity going forward. And we started the business on the basis that we could do a better job of delivering investment product to individuals. And that's what we've been working on for 20 years now, right?
Great track record.
Yeah, we've been together. He and I have been together for 20 years. We founded CION in 2008, and we've been building out the platform. As I mentioned to you before, we have a business development company called CION Investment Corp. We had a close to $8 billion interval fund that's a partnership between our firm, CION, and Ares Management. CION Ares Diversified Credit, and that invests across the entire credit spectrum for individual investors. And we just recently launched another partnership, another joint venture with Grover Capital Management out of Chicago, and it's in the infrastructure space, and again, an interval fund round. So we saw the opportunity, and this was a long time when everybody's talking about it today. That the transfer of wealth and the opportunity, the trillion dollar market. I think it's at a $1.4 trillion market. It's going to grow to $2.5 trillion by 2028. So it's just something that we've always wanted to do, and quite frankly, it feels entrepreneurial, right? Sure. Building, manufacturing products, marketing products to individual investors feels like a much more creative endeavor, if you will, right? Going to fly to Asia and raise $100 million on a trip, talking to other people in suits, not as fun. No. But here we get to do something, and it's rewarding, right? And to know that we're giving these people the opportunity to make money, to build their portfolio, and one day retire with the appropriate amount of income or assets, whatever the case might be. Doing that is fulfilling, and I think that's what motivates us every day.
No, it's a beautiful way to look at it, because you are making a huge difference, and that's the key. I wanted to ask for this, because obviously there's always challenges, and you guys obviously navigate them very, very well. But when you look at advisors that want to include private market alternatives in client portfolios, what are the challenges for you with that?
So that is the $1 million question, right?
How
do we get advisors comfortable with an asset class that they really haven't been exposed to? It sounds almost weird in a way, right? Sure. That financial advisors don't understand private credit or don't understand private equity or infrastructure. But the reality of it is many investors have never been exposed to the asset class, and their advisors have never really had a reason to study it. So the big hurdle right now is education, and that's incumbent upon us to do a really good job of that. To educate the advisor about what private markets are, what are the asset classes, how do they function within a portfolio. And we do that in many ways. Obviously, we have a team of salespeople that meet with advisors, and they're highly educated. We do white papers, other marketing materials that help them. We have other platforms that support that cause. But ultimately, the industry needs to do a better job of education and a better job of selling these investments. I think one of the knocks on alternatives is that, or at least the semi-liquid alternatives, is that people don't understand that they can get their money out after 5%, right? So just being transparent about what we're offering and what we're providing to them is key. So the education is something that is really driving the demand. As more education gets out there, more advisors and their clients will demand these products. And, we want to do that for the industry, not just for CION, but for the industry, because we think these types of alternative investments are very important, and they're required today, right? The traditional 60-40 portfolio just doesn't work, right? And
the times they are changing.
Yeah, and investors need access, and that's what we're doing. We're providing that access in a thoughtful way. And that's the most important thing. It's also been around forever, but they have not been accessible to the masses, to the individual. And that's what's happened today, and that's why we're excited.
Brilliant stuff. Mark Gatto, co-CEO of CION Investments. Thank you so much for your time. It was great talking.
Thank you.